Hello everyone, Extreme Tuber here. Today we're going to be exploring Cubby Blast along with a few other areas of our Corp, leading into something that will be related back to the space element. Let me just switch into first person mode again for a sec here. All people in Star Citizen that are citizens are essentially issued a standard sidearm, which is the Arclight energy pistol, as you see here. Cubby Blast was established in 2932. The game actually takes place in 2942 all the way up to 2946. The current year is 2946 because essentially that is the equivalent of 2016. In this game, the next year will be 2947, and so on and so forth. All people in Star Citizen that are citizens are essentially issued a standard sidearm, which is the Arclight energy pistol, as you see here. One thing you'll notice is that it says equipped, unequip, as well as small, and its price in AUEC, which is the alpha currency that this game has right now. Another interesting thing about the game is that in terms of taking weapons off of the racks, you actually do physically see them taking it off of the rack. It's not just an implied thing. If somebody, you'll know somebody's trying something out if you don't see it on the rack, plus their character will actually be doing it. There are differences between these weapons, like for instance, I can imagine that you'll be able to figure out on your own what energy pistol means versus, say, ballistics pistol. But just in case, I'm not going to be patronizing, and I'll tell you that the main difference between the two is that the energy pistol is what we would essentially call the laser pistol, and the ballistics pistol is something that shoots more conventional things like just plain bullets. You know, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's sort of how I see it with guns, because if you get a model right, then, you know, it's not going to be something that you really need to change. And we're, in this day and age, that is not in the current year of the game, still using weapons that we were using in World War I and such. The Marines in this game, that is to say the UEE Marines, are at a bit of a disadvantage when it comes to visibility. You may have seen this earlier in one of my videos where I actually showcased the heavy Marine armor. The Outlaw armor, as we're going to go see soon, actually has better visibility, but I imagine that it has some sort of sacrifice and trade-off for it. Light armor, of course, doesn't have as many visibility issues, but you will, of course, be disadvantaged in terms of protection. And now we move on to the heavy Outlaw armor. I think it looks pretty snazzy, to be honest. It definitely does apply to the rule the bad guys always get cooler armor, that's for sure. And finally, we move on to flight suits. My favorite flight suit is actually the golden and red one, which is known as the Iron Man suit. Right now, I have on the Odyssey flight suit, which is why it says equipped, unequip. And the others are varying in prices. I also am fond of the gold and yellow one. But that's all I have for now on the flight suit and other things like that. So we're going to be moving on to the area which I mentioned earlier, which ties in this whole thing, which is to say the ground area, Arc Corp, with the rest of the game, which includes the space elements. In front of me, you can see the medical unit, which is where we will go to respawn if we die. Now, how will we die in an area where you can't even pull out your guns, might you ask? Well, there is an area in the shopping mall where you can actually drive around buggies, and those buggies have the ability to explode. So if you do get caught up in the explosion of a buggy or hit by somebody, you will die and then respawn in the medical unit. This is the TDT, which is the Trade Design and Development area, which is something that is the equivalent of a hub area for missions and things that you can either be done by players or NPCs will give you missions as well. But that's not where we're headed. To get to where we're headed, we have to go past Astro Armada, which is where the M50 that I showed you earlier is. The area that we are going to is known as Dumper's Depot, which is a salvage and repair shop. I like how they have engine decor here as well, basically showcasing that, you know, it's like it'd be like if you had like hanging car parts at a mechanic shop. That would be interesting, and it would catch people's attention, which is exactly what I think it does. Now, as you can see here, there is just stuff scattered everywhere. Again, I think this adds to the whole aspect of giving the universe a lived-in feel. You can practically see the mechanics rushing around, just leaving cables all willy-nilly, dropping things halfway there. I'll get it later, that sort of thing. Ah, crap, got hit in the face by the... Really, I gotta stop doing that. And this is the final stop on our tour of Arc Corp. In the background here, you'll see a Hornet being worked on and a little bit of a ship to the left. That is something that is going to be non-scripted in the future. Well, I mean, to a certain extent. But you'll basically be seeing real people's ships being repaired there, put together, and we'll probably even be able to do it ourselves eventually with a ship known as the Anvil Crucible. This is a repair ship that I haven't gone into detail about yet. Oh boy, do I love the idea of repairing my own ship or somebody else's ship. But all of this is going to lead into